Previously on Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains.
One mark, get set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
Welcome back, gamers, to the new battle pass for Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. There's not really anything substantial in it, like skins or new weapons or anything, but there's some cosmetics and a banner for your profile made using an AI art program. As I mentioned several times in the past, I don't know a lot about the production of these shows, because again, it's all just hearsay from like random Reddit threads and forum posts from fans claiming that they read some random interview from a Japanese article about the show, or like a Twitter post of a guy who worked on the show or something, so take it as a grain of salt, again, what I'm about to say. But I think even if you have eyes and you've been looking at it, yeah, you can tell the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series in the past several decades has had a lot of production issues. I don't know if I mentioned it during Arc 5 or the movie video, but one of the reasons why Arc 5 turned out so bad, allegedly, is because they were working on the Dark Side of Dimensions movie at the same time, and that's where most of the team went. I think there are a lot of other reasons why that show sucked, but okay. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, allegedly, was also running into a lot of production issues at the time. Apparently this was due to short staffing and overworking, which sounds pretty standard in the anime industry, unfortunately. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I want people to understand that I'm not just dunking on this show thinking that they just made a bad product. I understand that behind the scenes there can be a lot of things that went wrong with the production of a show, which is why it turned out this way. And I also want to be clear, I don't care. Yes, production issues do suck, and I feel for everybody who was wronged in the process of making this, but at the end of the day, I'm a consumer, and this was the product they gave to me as a consumer, and it fucking sucks. And I feel like people really only bring up production issue problems as an excuse for why certain anime turn out bad. Like, you know, we never mention it when it comes to good animation. Mappa works their people like slaves, but we get Jujutsu Kaisen, so it's all fine. I'm not just bringing this up to flex on you with my base anime opinions. It's also because that might explain this last arc. Because the last arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is only 17 episodes, the shortest arc in Yu-Gi-Oh! So far. It's slightly over the length of a normal anime season made today. And whether it be production or Gallop just being like, fuck it, I want to be done with this arc is done really terribly. And I also called this the worst arc last time, and maybe it's because of those production issues, or Studio Gallop not giving a fuck, or maybe they did just make something bad. Whatever the reason, I don't like it. It sucks. I think it's the worst one. That's because, despite being so short, it's also way too long. I'm gonna let you know, really the only episodes that matter here are the last 4 episodes of this arc. The other 13 is fluff. I don't know why they exist. They really don't add anything to the characters, the world, the story of this final arc. It just feels like they had a quota of episodes they needed to hit, the 120 mark, and so they just made some shit up. Really the most interesting thing about this arc isn't anything to actually do with the arc in the anime. It's that it has weird ties with the story of a mobile app. What do I mean by that? Well, let's dig into the finale of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, the I arc. Again, they gave up with these names with this series, and see the dry, uninteresting fart this went out on. Yet somehow, it's still better than Arc 5's ending. Finale starts sometime later, I think it's a few weeks or something, there's no oddly specific number like last time. Yusaku and Coulter are doing fine, Jin has recovered, in fact, turns out he's just forgot about the lost incident. Yeah, when Lightning used some of Jin's data for his life points in his duel against Varus, that data just so happened to be his memories of the lost incident. Makes it easy. However, Ai is still missing, Yusaku assuming he's grieving after losing the Ignis. You then see at Soltech they are now making robots. Okay, I've been trying really hard not to say it, but between the AI and now the robots, the show is eerily predicting very accurate future events. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is the Simpsons predicted it of Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway, Akido is given credit by the higher-ups for defeating Bowman, and is now executive director, whatever that means. And after the Hanoi, the Ignis, and Bowman, Soltech figured, this is more trouble than it's worth, we're not trying to get sued. So they shut down Link Vrains servers for good. Now no one can play. And this is why game preservation is important. Do your part, gamers. We cut to a boat where we see Queen presenting the new droids on a cruise ship. Now despite being so obviously evil and fine as hell in that dress, she really hasn't done much, has she, huh? I mean, yeah, she killed Earth, which was a big deal, but I expected her to be more of a presence, and her irrelevancy will continue, as we see that Ikemen and Kid from the end of the last arc somehow take over some of the robots. They then confront Queen in the middle of the night, the man saying he's here to get revenge for what she did to the Earth Ignis. Then he touches her and now they're in the Digiverse? Gonna be honest, I don't know how he's doing this. And of course, this man plans to get revenge via a children's card game. Oh yeah, I've shown it in past series, you probably forgot because I haven't been showing off the Ace Monster summoning at all recently. That's mainly because I don't care about these cards as much as the old ones. I remember they usually give these speeches describing the absolute unit that they just put on the battlefield, a dragon more powerful than a supernova or whatever. Well, it was surprising when they made this joke.
Striking fear to all who witness its majestic might. So here it is, the one, the only, the awesome.
Sometime today would be great.
All right, fine.
Surprising because I'm shocked it took more than 20 years and 6 series to actually make that joke. It also shows this man and child are not taking this duel very seriously despite saying it's for revenge. But I guess Queen doesn't stand for Queen of Games and loses the duel. And she gets a condition we've seen as the definitive you died sort of in this show. She's in a coma. You know, I didn't mention this as being a condition for being a woman in Yu-Gi-Oh, but I need to add it now because it's just happened way too often, hasn't it? Akita goes to figure out why she was attacked and finds out the man actually left a message, meant for him. That's when Yusaku and Theo, who's still hanging around before going back home, receive a message of their own that Akita wants to meet with Playmaker and Soulburner in Link Vrains. Yeah, it turns out like how the 1.0 version was still around, Soltech didn't shut the whole thing down, mostly out of laziness, I assume. They go to meet him with the Blue Man group there too, but that's not all. Ghostly Gal, Shepard, and Gore are all called in. Oh, Gore's like fine now. He reflected he's basically reset to where he was at the end of Season 1 again. And Akito reveals he called them there to act as his bodyguards, because the person who attacked Queen took a key to the company mainframe, but it was only half. Since Akita is just one step down from Queen, he has the other half, and the message was basically a declaration that the man is coming after him next in the next 3 days. And if he gets access to that, he basically controls an army of robots and has access to all of Soltech's assets. Playmaker asks if he knows this man and why he's doing this, and Akito shows them the message where the man reveals who he is.
Cause I may look different on the outside, but I'm still I on the inside. Get it? It's me, I!
And I'm Robappy.
See, I told you Robappy would be important. He's a minion for I. Who's a baddie now? And before you start assuming, no, he's not evil or a dick like Gore for no reason, he actually has one for doing this. Is it a good one? We'll get to that. Everyone, especially Playmaker, is shocked that I has a human form and is doing all this. And while everyone else is on board, Yusaku and Theo are more apprehensive. Yusaku especially thinks I must have a good reason for doing all this, right? We then see Akita wants some major insurance as he also goes to Varus to hire the Hanoi. Obviously Varus doesn't care about Soltech, but will take the chance to destroy the last Ignis. Then he introduces Pandor, an AI he created which is programmed to do nothing but kill Ignis. It never got any hint of free will or hurting humans, its memories get deleted. I give it one duel before I somehow convinces it to go against its programming. Also, yes, it is very hypocritical that Varus is using an AI. I don't even get the point of this. The Hanoi were doing fine. Like, he was even gonna beat Lightning if he hadn't cheated. Why does he need this? It's just more of Yu-Gi-Oh! Introducing other characters for no reason. Who's the guy that keeps doing this, and why is he still working there? Well, I guess he won't after this show. Later, due to the stress of this, Sky takes Akita to Coulter's hot dog stand, and Akita recognizes Coulter. He saw him duel Playmaker during the Ignis stuff. And when Yusaku shows up, he figures, what the hell, and tells the siblings about his secret identity, that he's Playmaker. Yeah, such a big reveal taken care of in a cutaway.
Hey, Saku, here to help out at the hot dog stand?
You know the owner of that stand? I see. So you're Playmaker.
I see the guy who had all the big reveals be casual comments in Arc 5 is still working there too. And as you'd expect, their responses are, huh, that's cool. Which, you know, given Arc 5 how the characters were so convinced that the U's and the plot devices were the same based on their face, and Yusaku never covered his face, it's weird no one figured this out sooner. At least Theo wears glasses, he's Clark Kenting it. Well, Sky does thank him for all that he's done, bailing him out all the time, and that he doesn't have to help this time, since she knows he doesn't want to fight his friend, which is a nice moment. No one else is though, despite I assumingly being their ally. Everyone's pretty on board with killing him. Well, stopping him, but you know they're trying to, you know, that's like the symbol for delete. Soulburner, while apprehensive, even shows up, because I or not, one person controlling Soltech is bad news bears. That's when Akito reveals he's working with the Hanoi too. Everyone is suspicious of this, but Varus reaffirms them that they only care about taking down the Ignis, and that's all. Akito explains the plan. They're in the center of Vrains with only 2 entrances. 2 teams will be sent out to intercept I and Robappy, while while Sky and Akita stay there. But then Soulburner and Shepard bring up a good point, that fighting in cyberspace means nothing because I can just find him IRL, and Akita tells them not to worry about that and just focus on taking him down. That's when our future AI overlords show up, and I sees all the usual jobbers are here, but Rabapi points out no Playmaker, but I knows he will show up. And he's right, Playmaker shows up, saying he's not here to fight, but like usual look for a way to resolve this peacefully. What a pussy. But I has no intention of that, splitting himself off into multiple copies to duel most of them, including Playmaker. When the two meet again, Playmaker asks him why he's doing all this, and all I says is that he's thought about it and Lightning was right all along, so he has to do this. Then a whole bunch of duels start happening at once. So, it's finally time to talk about the duel discs of this show. Yeah, you thought I forgot, didn't you? But no, it was just because there's so much other shit to talk about, and I knew this one would be so short, I kinda had to fill the time somewhere. Now, eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed during the footage I've shown, when they speed duel, they don't have dual discs. They just, like, hold their arm out, and it's, you know, a bunch of holograms, but then it's like, what's even the point of doing this? Just, like, have them tap the holograms in front of them. That's fine. They even kind of do that sometimes, like in Master Duels, but then sometimes they also have dual discs. It's kind of all over the place. I mean, yeah, I guess I'd rather have no dual discs than badly designed dual discs, but then again, this looks stupid, so 5 out of 10. Anyway, Rabapi duels Ghost Gal and Shepard. Yeah, if you're wondering, these two have, I guess, hashed it out as siblings or whatever. I don't know. We got 14 episodes left, man. We can't explain everything. Shepard does protect Emma from an attack at the last minute. I guess his arc is complete then, so they lose to Rabapi, a vacuum cleaner, and his appliance monsters. These guys suck. And they get, I don't know what they're calling it now. They got Shadow Realm coded or whatever. They're dead. Who gives a shit about any of this anymore? Ice clones are also taking out everyone else. The rest of the Noi and even Gore, where they do the same redemption shit again, showing when he woke up from the AI chip, almost lobotomizing him. The orphans and his butler and stuff all stood by him, so now he duels for them again. He learned the same lesson for like the third fucking time. We're just running in circles at this point. I beats him and also mentions that this is retribution for Gore beating Earth. The only ones left are Playmaker, Soulburner, and Varys, as I and Rabapi make it to Akita. Or do they? Because when they arrive, Akita logged out, and when the boys get there, they see I has already left. Varys reveals he knows that Akita and Sky in the real world are somewhere I can't get to. A plane currently in flight with no soul robots around is impossible to get to, but I, having access to flight records, seeing a Soltech-owned plane, took off, hijacked a plane of his own, making it to the one Akita's on, but is intercepted by a physical version of Pandering. And I can't hack her, so they duel on top of the plane, cause Yu-Gi-Oh! Why am I feel like I'm scooching so close yet for some reason every single time I'm like 20 feet back. Only important things, Ai's cards are all eye puns and have him in the art, which if you remember is a thing other Yu-Gi-Ohs do toward the end. Here it actually makes sense. Ai is definitely the kind of person to make cards like this and put himself in the art. The only time this actually makes sense in universe. Ai wins and makes it to Akita and Sky, sending them to the Digiverse like he did with Queen, and begins a 1v2 duel against the siblings. And he hacks the mainframe or whatever so the boys can watch. We're still just hanging out in that one area. What are you guys doing there standing around? Just waiting there till the script needs you again? We then see that Ai's monsters, the At-Ignisters, yes they have the at symbol and everything, are representations of the Ignis who died. And Ai again is very vague about his motivations, saying he's doing this for revenge, because while his friends all died, Humans got a huge W all around, and were able to continue on fine while all his loved ones are gone forever. And Ai shows he's definitely super serious about this, because he has a copy of Judgment Arrows in his deck. This moment made me laugh too much, it caught me off guard, honestly.
So say bye-bye to your hound!
Sayonara! FYI, that's Japanese for sayonara.
Also, Ai says GG's.
GG, you two, GG.
So he wins, and he's able to, he put Akita in a coma this time, instead of Sky. Wow, we're mixing it up, had the other Zaizen get womaned. Man, they're really taking risks this time. And even when it's her brother, who the show has shown that she is very attached to the point she might actually have a brother complex, Sky again is very nonchalant about what happened. She should be devastated, sad, angry, depressed, want revenge. No, instead, it's everyone's favorite emotion, dull surprise. Meanwhile, now having complete control of Soltech, Ai sends all the employees on paid vacation indefinitely, and even reopens a shut-down game of Link Vrains. Okay, well it's been 5 minutes and Ai is the best CEO of a tech company I've ever seen. Are we sure we want to stop him? And after she failed, Varys just lets Pandor go. He releases her like a Pokemon, telling her to make her own decisions. Varys... what the fuck? I know you didn't program her with free will, so fuck you for even saying that. This is what your dad did and what caused the Ignis? Once again proving my theory of smart people, scientists, and fiction are idiots. Anyway, Panda leaves, we never see her again. What a useful and impactful character. I will remember her for the rest of time. I already forgot her name. Meanwhile, Robopi is hitting puberty, kind of, as now Ai's upgrades have advanced his mind so much he's having dreams. And to reward him for evolving, Ai gives Robopi his own kingdom in Link Vrains, filled with appliances like him. Back to the Pro Tag, seeing Link Vrains is open, Playmaker and Soulburner decide to search around for clues on Ai's whereabouts, where Soulburner finds Robopi on his island, and he does not like that Soulburner has crashed the party and the two duel. Eventually Playmaker shows up and Ai is watching, where Soulburner also tries to get Robopi to sell this peacefully, but we see that Robopi, while his mind is advancing, he's not AI, so emotionally, he is still the same and acts like a kid, even taunting Soulburner for not being able to protect Flame and losing him hurt Ai. And having no emotions or morals, Robopi during the duel becomes sorta evil, only wanting the human meatbags to leave him alone. I keep getting really slumped in my chair talking about this because I'm just so relaxed, because I'm just I don't give a shit about anything happening. But this causes him to glitch out, giving Soulburner the chance to win the duel, and then Robopi shuts down for good. RIP to a legend. Okay, he wasn't as important as I made him out to be, but the fact is, he had duels and an arc. That was more than any of us expected, wasn't it? After the duel, Ai sends the boys some data, telling them where he is and that Playmaker needs to come alone. But Varus shows up, determined to get that data and end Ai, and the Ignis threat once and for all. But to help Playmaker and also get some closure for himself, Soulburner duels Varus for the data. But we see Varus as kind of a tsundere at first. Seems like he's being a dick by using cards that remind Theo of the Lost incident, but it's slowly revealed through the duel he's doing this to help him move on. And instead of trying to forget his past, he should never forget, and use it to keep him going and motivate himself to fight for something better. Cool, Varus. I'm no therapist. Maybe don't do this by reminding Theo of his trauma. I feel like you could have found a more subtle way of doing this. Soulburner wins, and Varus just says he's gonna leave forever and never bother them. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of Varus and the Hanoi, I guess, the main antagonist for the first arc and rival to Yusaku. He just pieces out after the best friend beats him. Okay. Well, he shows up one more time IRL to give Yusaku a card he might need. As Yusaku sees the data I gave them, is a location in the real world, a factory. And now here we are, gamers, yes, already. Episode 117, the beginning of the finale of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains' DLC. Yusaku arrives and is greeted by Ai, who reveals his grand plan. The factory they are in is for the Soultech robots, and he's gonna upload bits of him into each one, creating an army of himself, which he will use to take over the world. Yusaku still can't believe he's doing this, but Ai assures him this is happening, and there's only one way to stop him. A children's card game. Which by winning, Ai says he will be deleted, permanently, and everything he did will be reversed. So Yusaku has to choose, either save Ai or let humanity be destroyed. And he has no time to think about it, as the final duel of the show begins, Playmaker versus Ai. This is a long duel, at least it's the final one, so that's fine, I guess. The weirdest revelation during the duel is Ai led Playmaker to these Cyburst cards. Yeah, it was him that made it so he and Coulter would see those rumors about them as a sort of test to see if he could trust him, because I knew Yusaku was the kid that he's based on. I feel like this is another attempt at the writers trying to do the one character at the end planned it all from the beginning thing. I just hope the people for the next production company on the writing staff say no to people like this. Eventually, Ai starts besting Playmaker, using all the cards representing the Ignis. He makes the first Link 6 monster, and after some bonding over a card game, Playmaker knows Ai is not the world-conquering type, and figures he must have a good reason for doing this, still after everything he's done. And Ai tells him that's the problem, that's why he's doing this, cause Playmaker won't abandon him, as finally Ai reveals his real reason for doing all this. After beating Bowman, Ai found lightning simulations on the Ignis and humans coexisting, but found one extra one lightning ran later, that since Ai was a rogue AI with instinct, he knew he would oppose him, and what would happen if he won? Well, the same shit, as Ai trying to convince humans and AI to coexist would still cause a major war and the end of humanity. So he ran his own test, changing the scenario slightly every time, but no matter what, every single time, humanity got cancelled. So he decided to live out that scenario for real, becoming Skynet. His plan to will it down to Yusaku and him for this moment, where he can decide the future, knowing this information. Yusaku, of course, still thinks they can find middle ground, showing even he can convince some people, as he summons Borolo Dragon, Varus' ace monster card that he gave him, which I haven't really shown off, but Ai is still not convinced, and is about to win the duel, even offering to absorb Yusaku so he can continue to live on in some way, but he refuses, determined to find another way, as we lead into the final episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, episode 120. Yusaku, after using a card that has him on it, less believable than Ai's, He makes the worst nightmare of anyone who's running Link monsters in their extra deck. Access Code Talker. If you don't know about this card, he wins with it, cause it's kinda good. Because Yusaku decided to end his friend instead of humanity. He made the tough choice. When he goes to Ai, who's getting deleted, Ai reveals one more thing he didn't mention. That in every scenario Ai ran, Yusaku is one of the first to die, mainly cause no matter what, he would defend Ai, and always try to look for a peaceful option. But we're humans, fuck peace, we have tanks, and no matter what he would change, Yusaku would always die in Ai's scenarios trying to save him. So to save his friend, he put on this whole act and made this ultimatum so that Yusaku would have no choice but to kill Ai and save humanity. I don't know, this feels kind of forced and also pessimistic. Remember I said they don't have a lot to say about AI, and their conclusion is Terminator, I guess. But more so, I mean this whole epilogue. I know in the past I didn't like Zexel and Arc 5's endings for being too happy and trying to wrap everything up, but I think for a story that is way more poignant today with AI and it's Yu-Gi-Oh! A kid's show ultimately, I would have liked a more happier ending. You know, actually act on Yusaku's principles, there's always another way, a more peaceful solution. But no, this series is the one that decides, no, the protagonist is wrong, no matter what happens, we're all gonna kill each other over our toasters. Very dark way of looking at things, especially going off of past Yu-Gi-Ohs. Yeah, I don't like this ending for the opposite reasons of the last ones. It's too pessimistic. Well, not really, because after an admittedly cool shot, we end the series on an epilogue. Yes, it's an epilogue for the epilogue arc. It also weirdly has more content and story than this whole arc. As we see what all the characters have been up to, it's been 3 months since Yusaku beat Ai. Yusaku has vanished, so to pick up slack at the hot dog cart, Jin is working with Coulter. He's all better. Akira is now the CEO of Soltech. I guess Queen died or something. What the fuck happened to her? And Link Vrains is now a big crossover MMO, able to connect to other MMOs. The licensing fees for that must be hell. Frog and Pigeon are still around, remember them? I figured I'd bring them up, it's the ending. Emma and Shep are now partners working together on various jobs. Gore is back to being a celebrity duelist. He literally had no growth this whole series. That's amazing, considering how much time we spent on him. He's just back to where he started. You know what, Gore? You're plot device number 5. You are not a character. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Theo went back home and is living the gamer dream, getting his childhood friend Chan into video games and children's card games. Yeah, Theo didn't just get the best ending, he won at life. Varys and the Hanoi are still around, mostly monitoring Link Vrains in secret to atone for their past crimes, as they put it. With Varys knowing Playmaker will return someday. Playmaker returns, cause we see him traveling Link Vrains, looking for remnants of Ai, believing he's still out there. And the series ends with him maybe being right? So, Saku sacrificed him to save the world, but he didn't have to, not really, so he's still around. So doesn't that mean the world would still end because he's still technically around? We'd still have the same problems, wouldn't it? Unless they're saying that there isn't always another way and they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. And that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Or is it? It is. But also no, because remember back in the first video for this, I mentioned that this show has a connection to the mobile app Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I didn't mean that because it has speed duels or you can play as characters from the show. I mean that it continues the story of not just Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, but other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Yes, I don't know the full details, nor do I care to know, please don't tell me. But it continues the story that Ai is back for some reason, that this app is some sort of extension of Link Vrains, etc, etc. Also, even Arc 5 kinda does continue, with the characters, I believe, thinking it's some new dimension. But I really don't care about Arc 5, so I did not read into it that much. So yeah, if you crave more Arc 5 and Vrains because you're ill and can get through all the ads, then check it out, I guess. I won't, because, yeah, I'm over all this. It was mid. I didn't like Season 2, and the epilogue did not need to happen. Like, that's probably my least favorite just because of the fact of, like, what the fuck did I even watch? I've already forgotten everything that just happened. But I think Season 1 and some other ideas, like Lightning's motives, the Lost Incident itself, Varys' anti-meta decks, and Theo being a good character, I liked more than Arc 5, you know. At least I was never bored. It got close, don't get me wrong, with the duels being so long and trigger. But at least stuff was happening, the plot moved along at a fine pace for a while, and they didn't spend entire arcs in one room talking. It was only half of an arc. And I do like some characters. Yusaku will not be involved or having an impression at all. the second season onward, his backstory and conviction did make him interesting to watch for me anyway, and he is a good guy, and we saw that he wanted the whole time to find a peaceful solution to everyone, unlike the more direct and violent methods of the Hanoid Ignis. You do want to see him succeed. The problem is he's just kind of fucking boring personality-wise. Like, really, I can't tell you anything else about Yusaku other than that. Like, what does he like? What does he want? I mean, I guess that's kind of the tragedy of him, because he spent so long trying to get revenge that he didn't get to develop a personality. Luckily, there were some characters with more personality to pick up the slack, like Emma. Yep, she sucks as a duelist, but I also like My Valentine, so being skilled at a children's card game is not a requirement for me to like you as a character. You just gotta look damn cute with your hair tied up. I think Varys was fine. He had that cool rival, enemy, gay lover energy, being a foil to Yusaku, you know, just as determined and beholden to his ideals for his father's sake, but clearly has a conscience, being the one who ended the Lost incident. I already talked about why I like Theo. He's probably the best character in this whole thing, and honestly should have been in it more. Also, a hot dog is a taco. If you know, you know. So yeah, not the best Yu-Gi-Oh series, but it wasn't the worst. It's the second worst, I guess, if I made a tier list of the Gallop Yu-Gi-Ohs. Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds is still at the top for me, then the original, Zexel, GX, Vrains, then Arc 5. If I included the Toei one, I'd probably honestly put it above Vrains. I think that's a fair assessment of the Gallop era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh yeah, I forgot about that, huh? Yeah, I haven't really mentioned the animation this season except that one episode. It's been fine in that it's been nothing more or less than the other shows. It did its job. But yeah, Gallop, as of the series in 2019, 2021 if you're watching in the US, stopped producing the Yu-Gi-Oh series. The only studio to do it since the Duel Monsters era. Even the weird 4-Kid shit. The only reason I could find for why they stopped making the show was for the production issues I mentioned at the beginning, that making the series weekly for years took its toll with a lack of manpower, resources, and time. It made it difficult to keep it the high quality that we're used to, the nice quality that they were having trouble meeting the quota. So with this, they transitioned out of making Yu-Gi-Oh series. And now, the series will be made by Bridge, a studio probably most known for assisting in animation on the Fairy Tail anime with A1 Pictures and Cloverworks, and making the borderline hentai 7 Mortal Sins anime. But they do also have experience making a children's card game anime. I mean, yeah, they were assisting another animation company, I can't escape OLM, with making Card Fight Vanguard, I don't know how to pronounce that. Don't really want to learn how to pronounce it either. But while they're known for assisting, the next Yu-Gi-Oh series, they'd be soloing it. And maybe to test the waters, it's also the shortest Yu-Gi-Oh series so far, coming in at only 92 episodes. Didn't even hit triple digits. It also marks some other significant moments for the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, as it's the first series to not also tie into the real card game. Well, sort of. While it may not contribute to master duels, I guess is what we call them now, it did introduce a whole new way of dueling. Rush duels. I hope you're ready for the rush, as we take a look at the most divergent Yu-Gi-Oh series made so far. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Yeah, like Arc 5, they decided to put the number of the series in the title, in case you forgot. And you better make it to the next video, because I'll definitely be there, because not even a wall, a mountain, a planet will stop me from talking about children's card games over the internet to a bunch of weirdos. See you there.
All systems go, Yuga.
You might think you rule everything, but you don't rule me! My rush duel is gonna load the road to freedom! Starting now! Or not.